Tonight on PhillyCAM Voices, we have 4 segments created by our community reporters, featuring a diverse set of stories from throughout Philadelphia and a report back from the 12th annual BlackStar Film Festival. Good evening, and thank you for tuning in to PhillyCAM Voices. I'm your host, Rachel K. Godfrey. The Philly Goat Project is a program designed to educate the citizens of Philadelphia about the natural world, utilizing goats as a critical component. Rashid Ajamu reports.
The city-based multi-service GOAT program, known as Philly Goat Project, was established with the aim of providing urban residents with a unique and compelling means of connecting with nature through the use of goats. Philly Goat Project offers a diverse range of services, including animal-assisted therapy and wellness events, environmental and educational experiences, community engagement opportunities, and, of course, grazing. The program's barn is located in the stunning grounds of Albury Arboretum, a historic outdoor space that is open to the public every day of the year. Philly Goat Project's offerings are designed to cater to individuals of all ages and all abilities, ensuring that everyone can take part in the joy and wonder of interacting with these amazing creatures. With goats for the greater good, Philly Goat Project is truly a one-of-a-kind initiative that is sure to captivate and delight all who encounter it. Last Saturday, the Germantown Info Hub, we went to Vernon Park to visit the Philly Goats. Guests played silly games, listened to some stories, and they even got to join in on a goat parade. The atmosphere was so full of joy and excitement, and it was great to see people of all ages having fun together.
My name is Leslie Jackson. I'm the volunteer coordinator, but I gave myself the title, and my title is Folks Herder, because I am the herder of the folks. I've been with Philly Goat Project for 2 years and a few months. I feel like I've been there forever. This is like the best job I've ever had in my life. So today we are at Vernon Park. We did get a grant to go to 7 different parks around the city, and this is one of the ones we wanted to come to because we wanted to make sure we were in Germantown. The point of what we're doing in the parks is to teach people how to enjoy nature, and we use the goats as kind of a stepping stone to enjoy something outdoors and then enjoy the outdoors.
Sure. My name is Angela Miles, she, her, and I am a longtime volunteer with Friends of Vernon Park. Today, we are so lucky to welcome the Philly Goat Project. Around 3 months ago, Friends of Vernon Park was contacted by the folks at the Goat Project. They said that they had a grant to bring the goats to Philadelphia parks and wanted to come to Vernon Park, which is so wonderful because our whole point of our stewardship group is so folks want to come and do things like this and spend time in the park, and to have the goats here is really special.
I'm here today because I love the goats, and I love supporting efforts of lots of different entities coming together to create more free, fun programming for our neighbors in our public parks. I have a long-standing relationship with the goats. This isn't the first time, but I don't know. I just like being around them, and I love seeing everyone else like being pumped to see them. And I think it's really good to kind of get kids comfortable with animals at an early age. So I love seeing the kids just really taking to them, and I love Friends of Vernon Park. So. Any chance I can kind of pop over and support them too. Yeah.
The Philly Goat Project will be making its way around the city to bring joy to the masses. According to their website, they already have been a part of 1,350 events and have over 700,000 visitors at their barn. To stay updated on all things Philly Goat Project, you can visit their website at www.phillygoat.org. PhillyGoatProject.org, or you can find them on social media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
Drug addiction, prostitution, and poverty have complicated the lives of community members in this next segment. Bill and Brenda reside in Camden, New Jersey, where they provide seeds of hope to individuals who face challenging circumstances, offering them a chance for positive change after making tough decisions. Tom Coyle and Tim Milloway report.
The city of Camden has come a long way since the high crime rates of the early 1990s. But poverty, homelessness, drug use, and prostitution continue to plague parts of Camden. That is exactly the reason why Bill and Brenda felt called to start Seeds of Hope Ministries along Broadway in South Camden.
The Ministry of South Jersey Aftercare, which is just one part of Seeds of Hope, comes alongside men as they come out of prison. We disciple them, we mentor them, we help them get ID, we help them find employment, we get them plugged into a local church where they can grow in their walk with the Lord. All of those things together is really what we do. We love those guys. So many people have made mistakes that have ended them up in prison, and they just need a second chance.
And I ended up at one of the houses belonging to Seeds of Hope to stay at for up to, I believe it was 18 months, which was a real answer to prayer, excellent opportunity to regroup, get redefined and everything.
And the ministry of My Father's Hands, which is also a part of Seeds of Hope, reaches out to people on the street here in Camden, whether they're homeless, they've come down here in search of drugs and get themselves trapped down here, or otherwise. We just meet people where they are. It's just a beautiful reflection of how the Lord reaches out to people when they've made mistakes too, with open arms, with unconditional love, with compassion. That's just what we try to do through Saturday morning breakfast, where we can help people get something in their stomachs, and then we're hoping that eventually they will want to get out of here, and then we have connections to various Christian rehabs around the country where we can send people at no cost if they're ready to make a break and get out of Dodge, as we call it.
The ministry of She Has a Name is actually the third ministry that was birthed, and we were seeing just all these young women out on Broadway. It was hot like it's going to be today. We drove home. Bill and I just kind of looked at each other, drove home, and loaded up our cooler with as much water as we could put in there. Came back down into South Camden. Bill drove, and I jumped out and just started to offer a cold drink and a card with a number, and the ladies would just be like, "Oh, so thank you so much," and I'd be like, "Well, I'd love to be able to share with you, kind of just where you are, make that connection. Like and if you ever need anything, please call." These ladies that are suffering out here are mothers, daughters, sisters, friends. They have people who love them, people that they love. Nobody wakes up one day and decides that they want to derail their life and be out here in that position, in the bondage of addiction, and have to do the things that they have to do to acquire money. A lot of these ladies, majority of the women out here, are from the suburbs.
I met Brenda the very first time was probably in about 2012, right down here on Broadway. She was giving out pizza, and a bunch of girls said, "Come over to this lady, she's giving out pizza, and she's really sweet." And I went up to her, and I got a piece of pizza. She asked to pray for me, and I was in a rush because I was doing my thing, and I was like, "You can pray I get some money." And she was super sweet and just held my hands and prayed for me, and it obviously wasn't for money, but she prayed for my safety and stuff.
What's our end game? Really, if we had one, is that someone would really be able to find the hope that they need, that they would really be able to find that there really is a way out for me, like that I don't have to stay here. And we understand, that sometimes someone will make progress and then they'll stumble and fall. People are walking around with broken hearts, right? And so that part, A pill's not going to fix. I'm not saying that, we're not. There's a lot in that. But a person's heart, at their very core, their soul, is where they really need care and where they're most broken.
I mean, she's just been there by my side. I've been off these streets in September. It'll be 7 years. They've come up and visit me while I was in New York. They would send me cards all the time. They would do super sweet stuff.
Bill, first thing he did was put a phone in my hand. He said everybody has to have a phone. So he supplied a basic phone and plan, and he said that the ministry would handle the expenses for a few months, which was amazing.
And we've seen so many beautiful, transformational changes that have happened over the years. And in any battle, as you would know, and in our world, what's going on in our world today, there's been a lot of loss as well. And so we've been blessed to create a family environment here, and we really cherish that. The ladies know that they're loved.
A lot of people ask us, with all the things you guys are doing here in Camden, how do you actually fund this thing? And many people are surprised to learn that we don't receive any government funding from any entity whatsoever, that we are fully supported by a number of individuals who have just caught the vision. A number of churches in the area support us, not just with financial contributions, but with help and with prayers. We need prayer more than anything, as you can probably imagine.
The first installment in a series created by community reporter Marty Shore, entitled Philadelphia's Secret Revolution, where he visits important but less famous historical locations in Philadelphia. Episode 1 is an introduction and visit to Elfreth's Alley.
Program known as Philly Goat Project was established with the aim of providing urban residents with a unique and compelling means of
More than 30 million people from throughout the world visit Philadelphia annually, and most visit the very famous historic locations and artifacts of the American Revolution, such as Independence Hall and the Liberty Bell, located within the very walkable 75 acres known as Old City. However, there are many less famous locations in and around that small area that are also very important in telling the American story. Yet those often go unseen by visitors and even local residents, and I'd like to share them with you.
Hi, my name's Marty. Thank you for joining me on this first episode of Philadelphia's Secret Revolution, Hidden in Plain Sight. My interest in visiting historic places started when I was in school in New York City and realized that a simple subway ride could take me to see places that I'd been learning about in school.
Places like Fraunces Tavern, Washington's New York headquarters, in which I was able to stand at the table where he famously bid farewell to his officers. And now, living near Philadelphia, I can easily visit its historic sites, including many that are not well known, but important nonetheless. In addition to historic buildings and locations, we'll visit neighborhoods, museums, statues, and monuments that tell the stories of individuals and communities during the period of the founding, as well as some that were before and after that period. We may also uncover the secret histories of some of the more famous locations. For today's walk, we'll visit Elfreth's Alley, a short block between Art Street to the south and Quarry Street to the north. It's bounded on the west by 2nd Street and east by Front Street. It was created in 1703 to improve access to the Delaware River waterfront on the east, which was the center of Philadelphia's business and trade during the 18th century. The street is a National Historic Landmark where Philadelphians have resided continually throughout the past 3 centuries, and it continues to be a thriving residential neighborhood to this day. Its first houses were built in 1724. The early residents included shipwrights, seamstresses, blacksmiths, furniture makers, and teachers, among other occupations and trades. During the course of the 19th and 20th centuries, it was the home of several waves of immigrants from different regions of Europe, as well as migrants from the southern United States. We'll take a quick walk through Elfreth's Alley, first heading east from 2nd Street to Front Street, and then back to 2nd Street. We'll pause at a few houses whose stories can provide some insights into 300 years of American history. The first house near the corner of 2nd Street is number 139, which sits on a property originally owned by Jeremiah Elfreth, a silversmith after whom the street was named. But the street's name was changed in 1897 when the city of Philadelphia designated it as the 100 block of Cherry Street. Fortunately, during the 1930s, preservationists became very active, and in 1937, their efforts led to the restoration of the Elfreth's Alley name. Number 135 was built over a cart path, and the large window you see encloses what was once the entrance to the cart path. It was once the home of John Unga, a French immigrant who was one of the first immigrants to become a naturalized American citizen, during a period before we had significant immigration laws and naturalization was relatively uncommon. During the 19th and early 20th centuries, it was occupied by a succession of German and Irish immigrants, and then black migrants from the South during the 1930s. Next, we'll take a quick walk to Bladen's Court, which runs perpendicular to the alley and parallel to Front Street. The houses you'll see were originally built by their adjacent property owners as rental homes. Their residents once included William Rush and Abraham Carlisle, who were related by marriage but on opposite sides of the Revolution. While Rush was a patriot, Carlisle was a loyalist who worked for the British during the 1777 occupation of Philadelphia. In 1778, Carlisle was tried in an American court, convicted of treason, and executed by hanging. The red water pump you see at the end of the street is a reconstruction of the type of pump that would have been on this well during the 18th century. Quickly exiting Bladen's Court, we'll continue heading east toward Front Street. The brick wall you see along Front Street was built for noise abatement when Interstate 95 was constructed during the 20th century. Let's turn around now and head west. We'll pass numbers 120 and 122, which were built between 1724 and 1728 and are the oldest homes on the street. Numbers 124 and 126 were built by Jeremiah Elfreth in 1755. Mary Smith purchased them in 1762 to both live in and to run a dressmaking business with another seamstress, Sarah Melton. These houses now contain the Elfreth's Alley Museum, operated by the Elfreth's Alley Association.
Well, as you can see, we're back at 2nd Street where we started our walk. And that concludes our visit to Elfreth's Alley. I hope you enjoyed it. In the future, we'll walk to places like the Military Museum at Newhall and to Carpenter's Hall, where the First Continental Congress was held in 1774. I hope you'll join me. You can learn more about Elfreth's Alley at elfrethsalley.org.
We're entering the month of August, meaning it's almost back to school time. Jamie Oliver was on the search to find out about some back to school drives that were available or about to start their drive. She reached out to one church who's planning a school drive of their own. So let's check out what Jamie was able to find.
My name is Reverend Dr. Andrew Ankama. I'm the senior pastor of this church. The church doors has been open for 5 years in the city of Philadelphia, but God blessed us with this building, and we've been in this building. This was 2nd year. We are here to announce to the general public about the back to school drive that the church is organizing. Is a way of giving back to the community. We have backpacks, as you can see. We have notebooks given free of charge. We also have some textbooks that will be given for those who are in need. In addition, we have pencils that will also be given. We have pens, and these are some of the pens. We also have crayons for the little ones to enjoy themselves. And those who want some dental hygiene, we have free toothbrush as well. This is our 2nd year for the Back to School drive organized by House of Faith Ministries PA. This year we are collaborating with Caribbean community of Philadelphia, and it's going to be fabulous and fantastic, and we are all going to enjoy ourselves. This is our 2nd year. Our church gives back to the community in many ways, including taking care of the homeless, the needy. But one of the most important things we can do for the community is to organize this back to school to help the young ones and the students so that they can have an education. Some of them may go on to college, some may go on for trading school, and some may go on for technical school, so that at least once they finish their training, they can be successful in life and help the society that they live in and the community overall. Anyone willing to drop anything off to support the back to school drive will be very much appreciated. Kindergarten all the way to college level, ours is open to all. The date and the time for the back to school drive is on Saturday, August 19th, 2023. Starts at 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Located at 6624 Haverford Avenue, Philadelphia, PA 19151.
This past weekend, I had the honor of attending the 12th annual BlackStar Film Festival with fellow writer and filmmaker Fatou Faye. Alongside other film enthusiasts, filmmakers, and curious community members, we had the chance to watch films and meet some of the folks responsible for making them happen. Fatou and I met with Sweet Corey Bay, the composer who scored The Aunties, a film about a Black queer couple stewarding Mount Anchor's Pleasant Farm in Maryland. In our chat, Sweet offered us insight into their creative journey, meeting the Aunties team, and the importance of finding creative spaces that nurture the whole you.
Ms. Sweet Corey Bay. I use the pronouns they, them, and theirs. I rep Prince George's County, that's gorgeous Prince George's County. Put some respect on it. I'm 26 years old, a musician, I'm a bass player, I'm a community organizer, I'm a friend, I'm a lover, I'm a homie. Yeah, that's me. Because the score, I'm coming to understand more and more, is part of what makes a film, the experience of a film, what it is. It's like the sound of it. I work with a very specific ethos. The people who are engaged with me are other Black trans creatives. The history that I'm tapped into is the history and stewarding the legacies of Black, queer, and trans artists who have impacted and absolutely shaped every aspect of the game musically. And just maybe there's not necessarily an archive of that. So I am this archive, it's within me. And when people are creating certain types of works and telling certain types of stories, they need sonic support. And for a lot of the people that I align with, I'm tapping those sonics.
Let's talk about the Aunties film. How did you end up getting connected with them and then the project altogether?
Charlene Griffith Oro and Janine Kayembe Oro, they have a deep relationship with the Aunties, but they really are stewarding that relationship and bringing a lot of other creatives in connection to them through their networks and through telling their story. And those two folks are Philly-rooted folks. I met them virtually. I met Charlene virtually, actually, but I found myself aligning in Philly to visit a dear friend. And I knew Charlene was here, and I just was like, hey, I would love to meet you and say hi. You know, they told me about the project, and they are like, we think that you're the right person, and are you free? And I was like, yeah, sure. And they asked me to come out on set, and they were like, here's the day we're gonna do it, and we need you to be there at sunrise. And I was like, okay.
And then how much time was there in between when they asked you, like, okay, yeah, can you be a part of this film, to when you got to the farm?
It was probably like the weekend before, and there was like, we're going out. It was like either Monday or Tuesday. Will you be back home? All these things, are you aligned? And I was like, yeah, I just so happened to be free, aligned, available. And I was preparing for my move to Philly at that point. It was very aligned. That's the best way to describe it. You know, just like all the sounds that you hear, like the sounds of a cornfield under the wheels of a car. It sounds like what I imagine an ocean floor sounds like. And crickets in the forest and water by the creek, and you know, the feeling of like your socks pulled all the way up over your, you know, up to your calves, over your pants legs, so that ticks don't bite you.
But it sounds a lot like when you got there, the conversations you were having and what you were already hearing were the main influences. Like, you didn't really need to make a plan.
No, I just did some playing, actually. Like, after we got out of the forest, I just like plugged in my bass and we all just made some sound, honestly, just to feel the sound out there. I channel through the blues a lot. That's like sort of like where my aesthetic leanings musically come from, and the stories that I channel my music through come from, because the technology is already there. Like the blues is the music where people turned a washboard into an instrument, turned a single string into a whole instrument, and travel everywhere to tell stories and to create places for people to be, because they didn't have anything else to make those things happen. I try to call that through, and like the way that I structure the score of the film is like, you know, when I first saw the film, actually it was an hour long, but I knew in my head, I was like, okay, this is about to be 7 or 8 minutes, so we just composed 2 themes. The team that worked on the film is so incredible, but everyone who was on that set, from the people who was like recording the sound to, you know, people who were directing the photography, taking the archival images and images of the Aunties, everyone just really poured into every aspect of these stories to make something that could exist for a long, long time.
It sounds like the folks that want to work with you, that want to engage with you, are asking you to bring all of yourself into this.
You know, I spent a lot of time in environments that didn't fully see me, couldn't hold me or contain me, and had no desire to. And, you know, working in those spaces, I find myself with something that I want to prove, or some distance between me and like actual freedom and feeling like floating in my expression and I feel weighed down. It's been a blessing to have invitations presently to like deepen my relationship to land, especially too because agriculture is in my blood as well. Like my ancestors were farmers. They raised peanuts in Virginia. My father's family is actually also from Maryland. Like they're from Bear Hill, Maryland, and they also, they were farmers. Some of them were indigenous. Many histories. So I just think about like what have I been entrusted with? Like what has my spirit been entrusted with expressing into this world, and how do I take responsibility for that?
Thank you for tuning into this episode. You can also watch our show on YouTube and Roku, and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We'll see you next time.